I currently work for Tenable. I help build the compliance side of Tenable, building audits and the plugins and code and such. I have a website at savingflight.com. Most of what my focus is right now is trying to help people get into InfoSec. And that's what I'm talking about. So make your own way means don't count on a degree. That's what I did. I was always told that I needed education, I needed to submit to open source projects, and I needed all the experience to get these jobs. And I didn't really want to do that. And if you're experienced, then help someone. So my journey started a long time ago when I was in middle school, I think. I found a website called Happy Hacker. And I thought this was how you hacked. So I read the website and I was really interested, but I really had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea that this person really didn't know what they were doing. So I tried, but I didn't get very far. Here's some of the articles that I found. Telnet, the #1 hacker tool, satellite hacking. But that's what I thought was cool. So that's what really inspired me to teach myself how to do it. But this was a long time ago and I had no idea how to use Google. I don't even know if Google was alive then. But that's where I started. That's where my interest came in. So I joined the Air Force with the intention of doing good things. And I studied Arabic at DLI, which is in Monterey, California. And after kind of getting acclimated to the language and in class, I ended up meeting someone who was in IT, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do. He was a server admin, Linux server admin. So he gave me this list of things to go through, because at the time I had gone through a quasi-ethical hacker course. I think we used Metasploit and one exploit, which was like MS8, 11 or something like that. And I had no idea how it worked, but I did it, and I got credit for the class. And I was doing a class that was prepping for Network Plus. So he gave me this list and said, you look like you have the knowledge to start. And it's hard to read, but basically he said, build some virtual machines, set up a server with a bunch of services, learn to program, subscribe to blogs and stuff. So I took that and I started studying while I was in Arabic class. So I was answering Arabic questions while I was reading O'Reilly books that he gave me that I printed off on little quarters at like 8-point font. And I used that to introduce myself to InfoSec and programming and what I wanted to do, which wasn't Arabic, it was in IT. So fast forward a couple of years, I got out of the Air Force and I didn't know what to do. I was serving tables for a long time and I was selling cell phones. So I was working at T-Mobile and I met a friend who actually went to Centric here in KC, and he said it was a good opportunity to get started in IT and get some certifications. I really didn't know any different. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, so I started.
Excuse me, pardon me here. I'm sorry to interrupt, excuse the interruption please, but we have a tradition here at SETKC, and Corey isn't here, but first time speakers, take a shot.
I think everyone takes a shot.
Thank you, you may continue.
All right. So at Centric, they do 2 tracks. They do a programming track, which is in .NET, I think, and a network admin track. The network admin track takes you through some certifications, Microsoft certifications, and I got my MCSA and I got a Security Plus and some other things, CCENT. I knew it wasn't going to be enough to really get a good job, but it was a start, and it was a direction. So I started in help desk. I wanted to get into security full time. I ended up getting a job with Booz Allen Hamilton doing validation, Diacat validation at the Marine Corps on Bannister Road. There was kind of my first start in programming. We had a lot of rote tasks that we had to do over and over and over, building spreadsheets, taking retina scans, and I still didn't really have any clue of what I was doing, but because I had taken a Cisco course, I was able to do some of the router stuff, and I started learning how to poke the servers to validate what we were doing and prove that we were either secure or not. So about halfway through my time there, I was there for about a year and a half, I wanted to do full-time development. So I started asking some guys who were in software development what I needed to do to get in full-time. They told me I needed a college degree. I think I was on year 10 of my bachelor's degree, and I didn't want to get a bachelor's degree. They also told me I needed to get some experience in open source projects. And I didn't really want to spend the time, I just wanted to jump right in. I was doing scripting already, it wasn't good, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I did some Googling. This time I knew how to use Google. And I found a site that taught me how to do some web programming, and I took that experience and started working in my job, which was officially security validation. I started building a tool, and that's all I did for about 6 months, full time. I was able to get a job at the Federal Reserve doing that, pretty much the same thing. And after that, I got a full-time web development role, and then I started doing some freelance projects. So basically, my point with what I did is that a lot of people ask me how to get into security, how to get into software development, whatever it is, and a lot of answers that people will give you are a path, but they don't have to be the path. And it's not as hard as you'd think. I certainly didn't have enough experience to get the jobs that I got, but because I knew what I wanted, and I had some experience in my job, I was able to start into full-time web development after that. I'm now obviously working at Tenable, and I've had a couple of job offers in pen testing. So I knew back then that's where I wanted to go, and that's kind of veering around, ended up in pen testing. So the thing that you have to kind of be wary of, that now a lot of people will claim to know what they're talking about, and I happen to come across a lot of people that told me to take long routes that if I had listened to them, I wouldn't be in InfoSec now. I wouldn't be getting jobs for pen testing. I wouldn't have been a software developer. So it's important to find people who know what they're talking about and ask. Places like this are great because there's lots of really good, skilled people, and they'll know how to get where they got. They'll give you a path to take, and it's important to consider that, but it's also important to consider what you want. And that's what I did. I knew that I didn't want to necessarily finish my degree. I did eventually, but it wasn't until after I got my job. So there's definitely bypasses to getting into where you want to go. How expensive would it be to just skip practice and get right to perfect? My wife tells me that's me. There's a lot of times where I just want to get right into it. And the key thing to remember when you want to get a job in InfoSec or development or whatever it is, to do the work, to get some experience, and it doesn't have to be official experience. Start building VMs on your computer and start hacking them, or start building websites or small web apps. However you can get your hands on some experience is a great way to put in front of an interviewer and tell them, here's what I've had experience with, here's what I've built. And it's good, one, because I've always been able to say that this is stuff that I worked on in my own time. I didn't do it full time, and managers like that. So it's helped me, for sure, get the jobs that I've gotten. Tenable was one of those. Do work at work, which is, like I said, just make sure that if you have an opportunity at work to do what you want, try and incorporate that into what you do day to day, because the full-time experience of doing that is irreplaceable. You can't get that outside of work most of the time. Update your resume with those experiences is what I did. So everything that I did, basically, I put on my resume, no matter what it was. If I worked with Tomcat and I wanted a development role, I put Tomcat, and they didn't need to know that it wasn't at a full-time job. I knew how to set it up, I knew how to develop code for it, and that was what mattered to managers, and it got me into places that I wouldn't have been able to get. I think the most important thing that I've run across is, I did this a lot on my own. I had one person at that sheet that was up there that gave me some advice and some direction. And it was great because he encouraged me and he kind of gave me a route to take. I didn't finish it based on what he wanted, but I was able to start and I had a path. You can Google any topic right now on how to get a job. Reddit will have 100 different questions about how do I get into this, and some people are mean, some people are nice, some people will give you valid answers, some people don't. So it's really important to find someone who knows what they're talking about. Don't just take advice from anyone. Ask people who are in it and get information from them about how they got in and what you should do to get where you want to go. That's probably the most important thing, helping people out. And if you're already in InfoSec or you're already a developer, find people that want to get into where you are and help them. I wish I had someone. I know that there are people that want help, so it's key to filling the gap, the cyber gap, I guess, is what they're talking about now. I don't think I have anything else.